Hi Scrappy friends, I am going to be doing a new series on my channel, which I am doing double page spreads, so two 12 by 12, or it in this series I'm kind of hoping to maybe switch some things up and do two 12 by 12, maybe do a couple of different sizes just to change some things up, just to change maybe the way that I'm scrapbooking and my brain thought process when I go about scrapbooking. And many times when I make a layout, I just think, oh, I want to use this photo, or I start off with maybe like an inspiration piece, but then I just go from there and I just pick stuff and I don't really think too much ahead of time. But I really want to kind of train my brain maybe a little bit more to be a little bit more thoughtful beforehand. So today you're gonna see me use probably most of this stuff to make a double page layout. It's gonna be, I believe what I want to do is have this be one side and this be the other side, and this will help create a flow. Okay, so I rarely buy two of the same papers when I buy papers now. So to help still create a uniform 2 pages, instead of using just like either 2 plain white cardstocks or 2 colored cardstocks, or trying to figure out how to use pattern paper, I figured that for this one I'm gonna use a white and a pattern. And like I said, I'm gonna be taking papers and putting them across also, so that will help create a flow. Part of what I want to do is create a certain flow on my pages that is a little bit different that you get with a 2-page. And depending on how I do each one will depend on whether when I put them in my album I staple them together so that they'll butt together, so that the papers will actually be together, or if I'll have them just kind of, not every single one is going to be matchy-matchy. I really want to try to create some inspiration for people who I've heard a lot of ladies talk in the groups about not being able to find the inspiration, and maybe kind of finding some new ways to combat that. I think sometimes when we get stuck in this, we need to scrap this certain way, it makes it harder to think outside the box to change things up. So I have some different ideas that I'm going to do. I'm not really sure how many episodes this is going to be. I'm just going to kind of wing it. I definitely know I want to do 4 or 5, but I'm hoping for at least 6, but I definitely am doing 4 or 5. So because I just have some ideas that I know that I'm not going to be able to do unless I do that. So these are the papers that I'm thinking about using. Like I said, I'm going to use white, this. I'm thinking of maybe using something like this or this as like a neutral to do some stuff. And then I also have this paper that I'm thinking will go really well with this. And this also matches. And then I have this summery dot paper from Echo Park from this year, and I think that could be really fun. Maybe bringing in a couple of other colors that aren't here. And to do that, I also have some Pink Fresh Studio, so I don't know if I'll use this for maybe some journaling or something, or but I don't know. I also have some other papers that I'm thinking that maybe I could add if I need to. So I also have, this is from the Echo Park. I probably wouldn't use the flower side, though it would work to help bring in. I just don't know if that'll be too much for what I'm trying to do. So, and that's something to think about. I find that with the newer collections, less is more, and you try not to put too many different patterns on. So that is going to be something that is going to be swaying. And I will put this disclaimer out there just because I don't want to offend anybody, as far as I know everyone has their own style and I think they're all beautiful. So if you don't agree with how I'm doing it, just know that this is not the only way to do it. And if you love the style that you're doing, share with me how you do it so that maybe I can try to change the way I think, because sometimes, like I said, we all kind of have a way that we come into making a layout, and when someone tells you that they do it differently, sometimes it's easy to think that they're trying to tell you that this is the way you have to do it, when it's really that's just the way that they do it. So I just want to say that, and say that I am kind of coming at this from a more modern or trendier take. I definitely want to try to bring in stuff that I have. I like to use trendy things. I like to use the new collections as much as I can. So I really want to bring some of those elements into my layouts. So there might be less product on it, and it may not be completely what you're seeing, but know that I really am trying to balance and mix both sides so that people can find inspiration no matter how you scrap. So if you don't usually do double pages, maybe you can find something that inspires you. So I also have this paper. This is also from the same collection, and this is the summer collection from Echo Park this year. And I was thinking maybe I could use something like some of the elements from this. I don't think I would use all of it. I have a flamingo one, but I don't think that's going to work. Even though the colors match, it would be fun to add that. I just don't know if I think it'll work. I also grabbed this sheet because it has a whole bunch of different squares, and I thought that maybe I could use some elements from here. There also is just this plain. And then I also grabbed some very new stuff from Dear Lizzie. This is from the Saturday collection. I just don't know. This might work to bring in some of all the things, but I'm not sure if I want to use all of this. I really like this collection. It's really, really cute and fun. It has a lot of the watercolor aspects too. So, but I was thinking maybe I could use some of the like the cut apart elements to it to add. And I'll show you what I mean by that, because, okay, so I'm going to be using a sketch-ish. So I want also to share some ways that you can, where you can find inspiration, because that seems to be something. Don't forget, if you have magazines, you have all these Pinterest boards, don't forget to look on there and actually use what you're pinning. I think that's part of the problem, is sometimes we get a little pin crazy and then we forget to go back and use them. So I just looked on Pinterest, and Scrapbook Generations has tons of inspiration as far as double pages. I think the hardest part is thinking outside of the box. They show you a collection because they have the pages all together. And so you see the different styles and stuff. And just remember, just because they use a certain paper doesn't mean that you have to, right? I mean, you can. You totally can. That's the awesome thing about that, is that you get to see, they just don't show you a sketch. But anyway, so I took something. I'll make sure I have the link in the description, and it's probably scrolling on your screen right now. So that you can go and you can look and see what it actually looks like. But I drew it out for myself so that I don't have to keep going to my computer or on my phone or something, because that's kind of distracting to me when I'm scrapping. But so this is what it looks like. There are a total of 5 photos. So I have 5. I'm not sure. These two are pretty much the same, as you can tell. This one is a little bit closer up than this one. So I don't know. I haven't decided maybe if I'm just going to end up just using one. like I said, because it is the same. But this was a trip that we went to the zoo, and I have quite a few pictures of like the animals and my kids looking at stuff. I actually probably have more photos, but right now I have not been able to find my cord for my printers, so I can't print any new photos right now, but that's okay because I still have tons of pictures. So yes, so I'm and these all are different sizes. Also remember that you don't have to use the sizes that they say. I mean, obviously it's going to be helpful. So, you know, there's going to be one that needs to go this way. One of these is probably going to have to go this way. I'm thinking that this one and even this one I could probably cut and make it a little bit smaller. Or like I said, I could just leave it off and use a journaling card or something. I think that might be what I do, just to kind of give myself a little bit more space. And 4 photos to me is quite a lot, but I think I'm going to cut this one down because it says it uses a 4x4 and that would be perfect. There's a ton of empty space. I mean, I love the space that it created. So if I wanted to, I could add that up there and just do something different too. So I haven't decided how I'm going to do that, but I also took this paper out because I might cut some more of these. There's a lot of the same colors that I think will be fun. So there's tons of strips of paper on here. There's something that goes all the way across and then something in the middle. So, I mean, it's kind of just playing around, and just because they use a bigger size doesn't mean that you can't, you know, change it up. So I hope you guys are excited about this series. I certainly am. I know I yapped long enough, but I really wanted to make sure I get this intro really good because I'm excited to do this. I'm excited to do something just a little bit different than what I normally do. And I'm excited to see what people think and maybe bring something new to the inspiration table that hasn't been done as often. And I know there are other YouTubers that do double page spreads. There are lots of other scrapbookers. I think it just takes a little bit more digging to find them. And so I hope you guys are inspired, and I will talk to you guys later. Hey guys, so I am now doing the voiceover part. I hope I didn't lose you there. I had a long intro, but I really wanted to kind of explain what I'm doing and this thought process because this is a little bit different. So this video is a little bit longer than my normal. It's about 28 minutes long, so I hope you have a good cup of hot cocoa or tea or coffee, whatever you prefer, or if it's really warm where you are, like it's supposed to be for me, some nice iced tea. Anyway, so right now I'm thinking about putting that dot paper on the bottom. And I'm trying to decide if I want to stick it all the way across, like the sketch that I'm using. So you're going to have to go to the link that I have in the info box below to see where on Pinterest, because the way that the Pinterest picture was, I couldn't post it up. But I'm using a Scrapbook Generations picture, so it's not necessarily a sketch, but I'm going based on what they did. And they have this line of paper that's across the bottom, and it's all the way across. I'm trying to decide if I want this big piece or the smaller piece, which is why I'm hemming and hawing, because I'm not really sure. But I really like that sunbeam paper, and I don't really want to cover it up, so I am eventually deciding here that I'm going to cut it. And then I'll be able to stick it all the way across, because part of the problem is I only had that much left of that paper. I did not have any more of it, so I used some of the other. So it wasn't even like I could take half of a 12 by 12 sheet. And I think this is part of the problem when you have a double page spread, is that you don't, maybe there are a lot more people who buy doubles of papers than I would think, but I know I don't buy doubles of a lot of papers unless I absolutely love both sides. I usually only buy one sheet of a paper now. And so it makes it harder when you're doing a double page if you want it to go continually if you use more than half of it. So I'm also wanting to use some of this cloud paper. This is from the Pretty Please collection from Pretty Little Studios, which Marie Pierre Capistran designed, and it's gorgeous. I love this collection. And I really like the pop of the blue that it gives, but also the clouds and the sun go kind of hand in hand, and I really was thinking that this would be fun. And so at first I thought that it would be easier to do this because I don't know why I was thinking that maybe some of it would be covered, which some of it does end up being covered, but I don't know. I thought that I wouldn't have had to cut so much because I ended up cutting it in a weird way that I didn't need to, but it's okay. It ends up working out because you don't notice it because some of it does get covered up. I wish I had thought about it a little bit more ahead of, like, I don't know. I think this is where I'm not used to doing this very often. So I thought that I would have that space where you don't see anything right now on that side. I thought I would have that to be able to like cover up, but in the end I don't end up covering it up as much as I thought I was going to. So that's kind of what I'm talking about. And I'm using some of this washi tape because I really like the fact that I can do a layer with something thin like washi tape, and on the or on the picture, because really what Scrapbook Generations does is they'll give you like a page map, or like they'll show you a page already put together without the photos, just where the photos go. So it's kind of nice because you can see it with pattern paper, and sometimes when you look at something with just the sketch, it's a little bit harder to imagine how it would look. Now, for me, I usually change up things, and as you can see already, if you've looked at it, I am changing this up. That piece that I'm using right now is actually way bigger on um on the thing, and I move more of it on the white piece than the sunbeam piece because I really want that sunbeam to show. I really love that paper that's from Hip Kits and designed by Kim Watson, and it's beautiful and it's just really fun. And so to be covering most of it up, which I do cover a lot of it up because I'm using quite a bit of photos, I end up only using 4 photos, though I have 5, but 2 of them are almost the exact same photo, and I just decide for me that it wasn't necessary to have 2 of the same photos. So and this is something that I've found just, and the reason why I usually use less photos is that I don't feel like I need to add every single photo that I have. But like on an occasion like this where we went to the zoo and I took tons of photos of animals, which I usually do, I figured why not use those photos, because I mean, what else am I going to do with them? They're just going to sit on my hard drive and be fun, but like we're not going to look at them. So, I mean, another option that I could have done is just taken those photos and put them in like a 6 by 12 like pocket page with, not all of them, but I decide that this would be fun for a double page. So I do mat all of those in that poolside paper. I had it and I did mixed media on the one side and I didn't care for it. And that blue just kind of is a color that helps things pop a little bit more. And I don't mind that it doesn't show all of it. My gun was working really weird. I think it's just because it was getting warm and near the end of the roll. And sometimes when it gets warm, the glue like sticks together. I don't know. So I'm trying to decide. See how I covered a lot of that up. I probably didn't even need to worry about where that was. But for me to know that I actually have it all the way across, in the end, it made it easier. But so now I'm trying to figure out exactly how I want this because of the way that I have that one paper, that gray paper from Pink Fresh Studio, in the page map, it was there was also supposed to be a square that was supposed to go over top, like at the bottom, and I just didn't want to, I moved where my photos were a little bit to kind of fit how my photos were, what the photos were, because that's one thing that I find that, like, sometimes you can't cover up that part of a photo, or the part, like my daughter's heads were on the other photo that I put there. Now, yes, I could have used a rhinoceros on that side, but I really wanted them to feel like they were going across, so that these are two layouts, even though the one has a white background and the one has a pattern paper background. I wanted it to feel like it was one layout. And so by having one of the animal pictures on the one side and the picture of my daughter's on the other side, I thought that that would help connect them. And so instead of another picture, because on there they have a 3x4 picture, instead of that other picture, I decided to add a journaling card. And I really like that there. It adds just a little bit of something, and then later on I end up journaling, which even in the close-ups that you see, you're not going to see the journaling because I did that after. I've been really bad about that, and I'll say I want to stop doing that, because I really like to see the journaling, and I like to see like how it would look when I see other people share their stuff. So I don't know, sometimes I just don't do it because it's, it takes that extra 2 minutes, obviously, to write it down. But so right now I'm layering papers, because in the page map, it shows a whole bunch of layers with like an embellishment cluster up there. So I'm just working on some papers, and all of these papers are different papers than what were in my background. Now, obviously I could have used some of the same, but I really wanted to use up I mean, I might as well. I have tons of scraps, right? This is perfect for scraps. And so I also decided to add some layers down at the bottom, but just a smaller amount. I think on the page map there is some, but I don't know if there was some down at the bottom of that one. I know that it went across to the other side. And so, but I just thought it needed something there. And I'm going to kind of continue that on to the next page. So it does kind of look like they go together. And I tried to keep some of the patterns the same in those two clusters, but I'm not being extremely picky about it, because I do want them to look different. Okay, so here now I'm working on this other side. And so I'm gonna start, well, in a minute. There we go. And so here I'm continuing that line from where I had the other one. And I'm gonna use the same papers, but I am gonna change it up just a little bit, and you'll see. I really like how this turned out. And one thing that I will say that I don't show me doing that also helped make this more current for me, or trendy, is that I stitched on it. So in the end, I'm going to add some circles, and you'll see that in a minute, as part of my embellishments. And then I just poked holes where I wanted the circles. Oh yeah, my head. My head is gonna get in the way, and I tried to get some of it out, but I'm really sorry. I have crazy hair. I have like really thin hair, and so right now it's at this stage where it's like just all over the place. I really need a trim, but that's besides the point. So here's some of the circles, and I do add circles to the other side too. And so now I'm trying to decide, do I want them to go across?
because I'm thinking about how I'm going to be covering up some more of that sunbeam, and I really don't want to, but I'm thinking that it will look better that way. I want to use those cameras. Those are from Dear Lizzie. That's from her new collection, Saturdays, which I absolutely love. And I really like these boxes. Oh yeah, here's my head again. I do cut most of that out, but I am sorry about that, guys. So you didn't get to see me do that cluster because my head was in the way for most of the cluster, because apparently I didn't think about that. And I'm also sorry about the light shining through. I've been working on trying to get my video set up and when is a good time to tape. And during the day is a good time to tape for me as far as lighting, because the lighting looks so much better during the day, except for the fact that sometimes the light shines through. So I didn't realize how bad it was. Oh, and so here I am. Yeah. So now I'm just working on the title, and it's just going to be simple. A walk through the zoo. Not anything really amazing. I could have came up with something amazing, and I'm trying to decide, do I want this? I really liked that there, but I just felt like because the sun was on that side, it needed to be on the other side, and I didn't think it worked on the other side. So, but I do end up adding embroidery to all the circles, and I'm going to add this zebra. I'm trying to decide, do I want it on this one or this one, but I end up putting it here. I don't know when else I would use that zebra unless I just use it for random sake, which I have been known to do, but I figured it would work. And so I use some of these other chipboard pieces, and they work really, really nicely. They add some nice extra circle dimensions, and they're colors that are similar to the Echo Park, that dot paper. So I really like I said, I really like how this turned out. I did keep the embellishments pretty simple, but I feel like because there's a lot of paper layers, that keeping the embellishments semi-simple helped not make it seem really crazy. So I hope you guys join me for another episode. I'm going to be doing these on Saturday, every Saturday morning. I'm hoping to get 6, but I definitely will have 4 in the series. But I'm going to be doing some different things with with double pages. Some of them will be a more traditional take, and some will be more of a twist. But I hope you guys are gonna enjoy this series because I'm really excited about it. I'm excited to do something a little bit different. But I will see you guys later, and don't forget to check out the link from Pinterest so that you can find out some more ideas for layouts. I will see you guys next week. Bye!